I am super chuffed to introduce my beautiful friend Esther Barneveld. And
Oh, thank
I,
you.
it's so lovely to see you. I'm doing this very spontaneously because it's very impromptu. I had an amazing dream about you last night. And so then I contacted Esther and I asked her if she would like,
Early this morning,
yes,
like, an hour ago.
that's what you call spontaneous. And so we decided to, record this because I wanted to share on the video what Esther's doing, and I wanted to share my dream with her, and because she's doing wonderful work. So, yay! How are you going, darling?
I'm great because I love spontaneity and I love life's surprises. And I had just pulled out, my crystal singing bowls last night to do some chiming for myself. And I'd just been working with some clients yesterday, and there must have been an energy, plug being unplugged. And then you were there this morning. So it's all good.
So cool. Wait till you hear my dream. Wow. You'll be happy. So yes. So without further ado, shall I share my dream with you?
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you
So
so much for inviting me
oh
and
yes,
to do this.
you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Well, I also spontaneously thought of recording this after I realized what the dream was about, and also I wanted to connect with you anyway. So it all worked out beautifully. But what my dream was I saw a book, and this book was like written by Tibetan energies, like Tibetan monks. And
Mm-hmm.
in the book, you're gonna love this. In the book, they had written who they wanted to give credit to on the planet at the moment for the work they're doing. And I looked down the list of names on the book. It's making
Oh
me
my
teary
God.
too. And I looked down the list of names on the book, and your name was on there. And it said, I'll just let you receive that. It's making me teary
Thank
too.
Because I've got to share some things after you finish that it's just all synchronistically so aligned. It's like, wow.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so I read your name on the book, and then I cried then too, because I thought I was happy for you, and I thought, oh wow, that's amazing. I must tell Esther that she's on the book. So basically, the universe is saying to really acknowledge you at the moment, really honor you for the work you're doing. And we're going to talk about what you're doing and why it is making a difference. And what I also got, as well as the work that you're doing, is that you're holding in a pretty sort of consistent way a high frequency. So you're not tapping into the all the fear stuff that's happening on the planet at the moment. You're able to just sustain this higher vibration with your energy and with the work that you're doing. And maybe that's also part of why they're really acknowledging you at the moment in this amazing book. And I really got strongly the Tibetan energies as well that were around you. So please share with us, Esther, everything that you're doing, because we can all learn from this. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Medine. This is such a present, like for today and you know, for me, it's a huge acknowledgement because it is a day-to-day practice to be in presence, to be connected to my heart, to practice, even though I'm a mum of three and I have two living with me and my husband, my dear husband, I get the grumbles and the grizzles sometimes, but it's a day-to-day practice to practice loving kindness and
Because you're
compassion.
homeschooling, aren't you, as well? Which is
Yes, yes. We started homeschooling our youngest one this year. She's 8. And that in itself has been a huge journey since January, really,
yeah.
of undoing, letting go, surrendering, and learning even more so than before to trust the process. So I really understand now more than ever what it's like to be in the flow. When people say go with the flow, and I always used to think when I was younger and very caught up in human dramas and relational dramas, I used to think, what is that? How can one even achieve that? And I'm not saying that I'm always there, because life has got lots of things that it shows us that are challenges to even step up more and to work through more again and further my, what some call self mastery, but I find that a little bit like not so humble expression.
Bit lofty.
Yeah, but it is about,
Yeah.
just mastering, learning to grapple and grasp our soul learnings and to keep at it, and that and I always, every day, multiple times a day, tune into the higher divine,
Yes.
into God or goddess energy, source energy, whatever we want to call it, the higher divine, bringing, you've been one of my mentors in the earlier days, like definitely, because I remember you saying years ago, like, well, I go up, I don't know how many thousands of feet and I bring down the light. And I thought, how does she do that?
Oh,
So for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been practicing that, on a daily basis.
can I
And
ask a question? Do you think it's easier now to be fully present with the energies that are coming down now? The planet is raising its frequency, because I find it much easier more and more to be fully present in the moment. It seems to support that more and more.
yes,
What are your
yes,
thoughts on that?
that's a really beautiful and interesting perspective. And I would think so, because we're all in connection. Everything is in connection. We are co-creators of our lives. So we, what we vibrates and ripples out into the universe, into our world, into our collective consciousness. What is channeled down from the higher light beings and the higher realms, is it's all working together. So saying that, I also am very challenged, as I identify as a light worker. So bringing down the light and anchoring the light and trying to extend the light, or helping others hopefully ignite the light within themselves, or branch that out.
Beautiful.
I find that the more I've developed myself and my skills, like through the Reiki courses, especially, and the Palawa course that I've done, being initiated into those modalities, that the more sensitive I become, the more I actually physically tend to struggle with things that are not so pleasant.
Density, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but also, like, because I'm more sensitive, my body aches quicker. I've got a ringing in my ear since a few years. The on and off headaches. It's not just because we are for women menstruating or menopausal, or it's got to do with the universal energies, and that we become more and more sensitive. And I'm tweaking my diet again at the moment, because
Yep, aren't we all?
yeah, because it's like the body is just saying, like, nah, don't want it anymore. And I'm like, my chocolate.
But I really like that.
This is really plain what I'm eating, but my body is saying no more of that other stuff.
I'm exactly the same. It's
Yep.
like, and it's funny because, here we've had a recent post saying that the animals are starting to be, have these shots now for the COVID, shots. And so therefore, that to me infers that I can't have any more dairy. And certainly, I mean, I don't really have
It's interesting.
I don't have meat anyway, but I can't have any more dairy because, that comes from the same source. And I just have to be really mindful. I mean, I've I've been so strict with, avoiding all forms of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, and artificial ingredients,
Everything,
yeah.
everything. So, I just I'm really aware that I have to really align very strictly now with only, life force, fresh foods, vegetables, fruits, juicing, and yeah, I just can't go near any of that stuff at all anymore. I can't even just have the occasional treat, because I just don't want to subject myself to any potential things like that. And even though I will say too, I'm doing work with the amazing Ian Welsh, and he has a golden age affirmation that you can put over everything, which, you know, protects you anyway. But, you know, I still want to be quite mindful of everything that I'm consuming.
Yes, yes. Thank you for another enlightening point, because Spirit has been nudging me again to, you know, do you think you need to become vegetarian again? And I'm already mostly gluten dairy free.
Yeah.
So that explains why they're nudging me to possibly, you know, go off the meat again. I'd love to link back into what you shared about the dream.
Yes.
Because the vegetarianism has got to do with my little story. So I was initiated last year as a master into Reiki. So I'm now preparing to start teaching my first course to, you know, new students and initiate them into level 1 of the Reiki modality. And so I've been really studying and connecting with Mikao Usui, the founder of Reiki, and he was a Buddhist monk.
Wow.
And I've been chatting with a friend from the UK who goes to Sangha and, you know, Sangha meetings and practices Buddhism. And so I've been wanting to learn more about it. And I haven't advanced that much yet about learning that much more about Buddhism. But one of the things has got to do with the vegetarianism, because there's a festival here at the Great Stupa of Universal Compassion in a town called Bendigo in central Victoria, Australia.
Incredible temple. It is so amazing, isn't it? I
might put a
photo in here so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, amazing. So they had this lovely vegetarian festival.
I saw that with the animals.
Yes, last weekend.
Yes, yes.
And I've wanted to go there for several years. Like, it's been on for, I don't know, 5 years or something, minus the 2, you know, years that we've had in between. And I said to my husband and my little one, let's go, you know, let's go. And we did it. And it was so much fun. But it was all about promoting, you know, vegetarian foods. And so that was the call there. And then the Buddhism. And then you say that you had this book, you know, and
yeah,
it's like, wow, it's all, yeah, it makes sense.
Isn't it fascinating how the universe aligns all these things, and they're all synchronistically?
Yeah, because you and I have not spoken or texted or been in direct contact for like, it's been ages, like maybe a year.
Well, when we live close, we would catch up regularly, but it's just they're in different states now, so it's quite a bit harder. And
yes. But how amazing is that for synchronicity? And
that is incredible. That is incredible. So what do you think? And I know you're very humble and modest, so you probably don't want to say, but what do you think could be attributed to why you were given credit for this list? I mean, I know that you have a huge network of people that you connect with. You're very open-hearted, and you're very much part of the community. You do some wonderful charity work for an orphanage as well.
Yeah, that has actually stopped a little bit, but an organisation who provides education and homing for children in Africa. Yeah. But I've had a really big pause this last year. But yeah, they have done about 5-6 years of volunteer work for them.
Okay, so what do you intuitively feel that you've been doing that other people can learn from, that has given you this incredible credit, honor in this book?
There I go, look a bit shy.
I know you'd find this hard to answer, but I'm going to push the point here.
Thank you. I think what I've shared before. I feel like it's a real acknowledgement of my day-to-day work, of staying in a higher vibrational energy. And if I'm a knocked off center, to bring myself back.
Yeah.
And to I'm just not one to blow my own trumpet.
But this is also a chance for you to really, you know, honor yourself as well, you know, for everything that you're doing, even though it's not something that you'd naturally want to.
Yeah, and I think it's the universe calling me and spirit calling me through you to give me that nudge and to give me that push, like step out further into the community, as in the wider world, make yourself more known, because I've been hiding a bit in my little lovely country life. And I think that's the story of many light workers, many people who learn, spiritual modalities that we want to share with other people. So I've developed my skills, as I said, and when I give, it's not just a straight Reiki session anymore. So I see people in my practice one-on-one, and I've been practicing from my bell tent out the backyard here amongst the bird life, and I also have a new room. Pardon?
And incredible crystal bowls, singing bowls you have as well.
Yes, I do. So what happens in the sessions is that spirit shows me and the angels show me what work is done or is being done on the person and their body, mind and soul. So there's work, there's inner child healing, ancestral healing, there's physical ailment healing, there's you'd be so excited to hear this, because from when I started 5 years ago to now, you know, like yesterday I had a client and they worked on the DNA change, and you know, to really change things on a cellular level, on a DNA level.
Perfect.
What else happens? I see the different angels, they appear in the sessions, especially Archangel Michael.
Yes.
He comes through with his beautiful crystal sword, which I didn't know these things when I started off. I just started noticing that this was happening in the sessions. And first, as we all do, I questioned myself. I thought, am I seeing things, you know, that are not real?
I love Archangel Michael. I work with him a lot too. Beautiful energy to have.
It's so incredible. And I once met him, really fully met him in one session that was just majestical. He was standing beside me and the client, who was lying on the table, and I was giving a Palawa healing actually, and I could nearly touch his feathers. And what struck me was his utter complete strength and peace. Yet he's like a warrior in a way as well, with the sword.
Yeah.
But there's no aggression.
No.
And here
they seem mutually exclusive, don't they? Like peace, but being really sort of strong and warrior-like. But they can go together.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
So
to have him come in the sessions, and he stands beside the person on their left, near their left shoulder, and then he swoops his sword through the auric field 3 times. To cleanse and clear. But it's not just the auric field, it's also the physical body that gets that sweep. It's like an energetic sweep that he gives. And then I started seeing more things over this past year, as I've sensitized more. Like he might do a swirl around the body, or he might put the sword in someone's heart, not in a violent way, but in a strengthening way.
To clear it out, maybe. It's also called the sword of truth too. Archangel Michael's sword of truth. So it has so many multiple purposes, doesn't it?
Yes.
Talking about, yeah.
So, you know, so that's the work I do now, and I've had to learn to put the self-doubts aside.
Yes.
And, you know, it's a huge journey, I think, for many of us as light workers, as healers, to come out of that, what they call the spiritual closet, and
Yes, I have a community chat on my Patreon community, which is a fantastic place to join and chat with
Yes.
to join. And we did get together last it was a couple of weeks ago, and the everyone there was talking about their sort of inner intuition or inner sort of nudge at the moment to be more reclusive, to be home more and to be in their own energy more. And they're all saying that, it was a little bit of a sort of challenge to sometimes step out and go out into the world and into the community at the moment. So that's a very strong feeling that so many of us are feeling right now. And I think it's also that strengthening of our inner core and our inner foundation when, we're in the midst of, seems like at the minute intensifying, energies on the planet. So getting really stronger within ourselves.
It's lovely to hear that perspective of you sharing from your community, the online community with Arise Humanity, because I've been feeling, and we've been going here through a quite deep winter in Victoria, and we're still going through it because the weather is just, it's just bizarre for this time of year. We've got a lot of rain and coldness, and so there's definitely been hibernation, and to push ourselves out of that is tricky. Yet also I feel what is happening is the collective consciousness is in so much turmoil still, that I feel I've been living on the sideline of life, kind of the mainstream life. Like I step into community and I withdraw and step out again. And then I meet with my homeschooling community, which I'm so blessed with, this beautiful new tribe I've met and connected with and attracted. And we spend time in the bush mostly, fires.
Where you are, too, just in case somebody's watching from your area and wants to connect.
You're in
Castlemaine in Victoria.
Yes. In Australia, in the goldfields area, or what was the goldfields. There's not much left. So and I feel the residual energy of the whole COVID scenario is rippling out, and there seems to be a denial going on amongst the majority of people, which I haven't met them personally, but what I feel what's happening is like, we just try as usual, push things aside, push them down and keep chugging along and keep picking up life, and we keep going. But people are literally falling down left, right and center and becoming sick and having health issues as well. Or relational things are still coming to a head, and we really, on a very deep karmic level, have to resolve our soul learnings. Like we can't run away. Like people are still running, like the past life. We can't run away from what's happened.
It's like they can't deal with it. It's just maybe too much for them, they feel, to be able to deal with it. So what happens in that case is that their reality becomes more challenged and more difficult until they face what's right in front of them that they need to look at, and that they're striving so hard to suppress and to avoid and ignore. I'm
sorry, I'm just having one of my daughters saying she wants to come home.
The busy life of a we won't keep you too much longer, darling. If just
it's a pleasure. I'd just like to also say that I'm trying not to have judgment to people who are
in a different space.
Than myself, because I feel like I'm living more a life of choice, on a day-to-day basis, designing my days, designing my life, instead of being I don't work for someone anymore, and I'm out of most institutions of this world.
Right. So
I'm still in it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, there's a bit of a delay. Go ahead. You're saying you're the co-creator of your own reality, you consciously.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I I think that's what spirit also likes me to acknowledge, that I've worked for that.
Yes.
I've been in jobs in corporate positions, or well, maybe not so much corporate, because I was more in human services and disability services and aged care and all of that. And I've worked for, you know, institutions or organizations that were connected with government or government funding and things like that. And we still are somewhat connected, to some institutions that we have in this world.
Yeah.
But by having stepped out of that and really designing your own life,
Yeah.
it's very empowering, and it's so beautiful, and it's really living from the heart.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Can I ask a question too? I'll be interested to know, do you tap into anything much that's happening, in terms of the news of, maybe what's happening in overseas in Russia, Ukraine, or just the general, or do you just completely sort of avoid that or stay away from that?
I actually avoid it. I stay away from
Completely,
it.
you avoid it completely, don't you?
I do. I
That's
do.
very interesting. Hmm.
And it's interesting because part of me, or people could say, oh, this being an ostrich, putting your head in the sand as if it's not happening. I recently actually had a chat with a dear friend of mine about this, who I did our Masters of Reiki with. And I said, at the moment, I seem to be only able to hold myself, my small family,
Yeah.
and live this new life, and to anchor that love and light, and just to navigate through the challenges that I have with certain things within my children. And it seems to be that is my calling, that, again, it's a bit of the hibernation, the
Yes,
incubator,
absolutely. And maybe
like
to hold
that
that
energy.
frequency, you have to do that, in order to be able to hold that.
Yeah, and I've had,
It's necessary,
true.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I know that you and some others, and even my husband, step more into that news and into different stories or different scenarios, whilst I completely stay out of it. And
Yes. Well,
but
I
I've
don't
always
have
had
small
that.
kids.
Sorry?
I don't have small kids, and I'm not homeschooling and things like that. So, I guess what it is, it's every person has their own sort of list of things that they have to accomplish. And it's, how can you do that in the best possible way, holding the highest frequency? And it's different for every person. So, for some people, they might have the space energetically to be able to do that. For others, they may have their life so full that it actually drops their energy down to be tapping into that stuff all the time. And so I think it's different for every person.
So true. And I've had to learn to see that that's my role. And it's only happened over the last probably year or two, maybe a bit longer already now. But to say to myself, it's okay. I don't have to be out there to save the world like I always used to feel when I was little
Yes.
and growing up and as a younger adult.
Yes.
And even the work, what I did with the charity organization, the volunteer work, was very much, was extending myself further out into the world,
Yeah.
like physically, and making myself more known. So now it's been about, like holding that space energetically for myself and my family, but also that ripples out in the collective consciousness, and to be sound in my work, because
Yeah.
I have a high standard of how I should be and need to be able to be available for my clients.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you're obviously doing something right there to be able to with my dream like that. So, hopefully there's some information or snippets or something that will go out to the collective through this video, and people might get some sort of takeaway from that. So,
Yeah.
and it's just so beautiful to connect with you. And I've been obviously always thinking of you a lot, and how you're going and your work, and I'm with you in spirit anyway, even if we can't be
Thank
together
you.
physically. Yeah.
Yeah. You were called to go up north
Yeah.
in Australia, and I was called to still stay here and hold the fort here. So yeah.
fine.
It's
And you know
wonderful to
what?
connect.
Soon we might have our superpowers and we'll be able to bilocate with ease.
Woohoo!
We won't need any
Bring it
transport
on.
other than ourselves. Yeah, our Merkabahs, and we can catch up then. So I'm hoping that's not too far away.
Yes, yes,
That'd be
it'd be lovely.
Yeah.
I'd just like to maybe as a last message, I'm a real advocate for loving kindness, and especially loving kindness to ourselves, and to cultivate that, because society and intergenerationally we've been taught to be so harsh on ourselves, to beat ourselves up, to scold, to blame, to all of that. And the new paradigm of love and the divine feminine rising is about bringing forth love, acceptance, kindness, compassion, understanding, mutuality, unity, consciousness. So, like I say, I always say, look, I'm human and I muck up, and then I call myself back again. It's a constant learning, pulling yourself back to it and doing it on a day-to-day basis. But I really like to say to everyone, please be gentle with yourself, with your children, with each other, and come back to we just don't know what people's stories are when they react a certain way, when they act a certain way, and we don't know what they've been going through, and to not sidestep and overstep our own emotions, but to keep practicing loving kindness is really
I have
great.
a beautiful meme on that, and it talks about how, if we had an animal that was in pain, we would understand, like say it had been abused or something, and it was in pain, we would put that in context and we'd be greatly sort of compassionate and empathic for the animal. But with people, we don't do that as much. So I'm going to leave that at the end of our
Great.
Yes, for people to read, because I think it's really important what you've just said. Fantastic to connect with you again. I just want to really acknowledge and honor you for what you're doing, because the planet is acknowledging you right now in a big way. And I'm going to leave all your details below too if anyone would like to contact Esther. And she's also based in Castlemaine if you want to work with her in person.
And I can work on a distance as well, of course. Like we can connect through Zoom, and I can give distance healings, and yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Esther. So much love.
Big much love. Mwah, big hugs. I want to hop in my car now and drive all the way up north.
Great. But you have to come across on the water too, because we're on the island.
Oh!
You have to hop on the ferry.
Amazing. Okay, lots of love.
Yes, and big love to the family as well.
Will do. Blessings to everyone who's been watching this and everyone else.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.